if you want to be able to create a whole month of content that actually converts people into clients as well, in less time than it takes you to create currently 1 week of content, then this system that I'm about to go through right here is massively going to help. The last time I shared this was actually about 4 years ago on this channel, and it's probably the video that had the most comments ever and DMs and all sorts and people talking about it. And this simple system I've been sharing with my clients for years. Personally, I do it, and I find that this is massively effective. I found that internally myself, that the biggest reason why it was so difficult to create a week of content was because you're trying to create an educational piece of content as a video, then you're doing an educational piece of content as a carousel, then you're doing a proof-based post, then you're doing an emotional story-based piece of content, and you're going from one category to the other, to the other, to the other. What you end up with is never finding flow state. For me personally, what I found was that you actually want to map out the days of the week. So you want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sun. You get yourself first of all into a system where every single week your content is the same categories on the same days. This is going to massively free things up for you. Have you ever tried to sit down with a Google Doc and just come up with 7 pieces of content? Really difficult. Whereas when you at least have categories, first of all, before we even go on to the real juice of what I'm going to show you here, you end up in a position where you can come up with an educational piece of content, you can come up with an emotional story-based piece of content, because you're only having to come up with certain things. You've almost got like the prompt. It's like ChatGPT without a prompt isn't going to give you the answer. This is like your prompt. This is the thing that doesn't change. It's like a master file that you use every single week. And so as an online coach, this is an example of how you could fill this in. You could say that Monday is an educational. Okay, so this is your usual like how-tos and different bits and pieces. Most coaches are doing these 7 days a week. Okay, so the very first thing to point out is you don't want to do this 7 days a week. You don't just want to be the entertaining person. You want to be the person who can actually spark interest and real action through some of your other pieces of content also. With that, you should be doing this at least twice a week. And so education, we could do that there. Let's do also on Thursday. Okay, education. Monday and Thursday is going to be education. The second thing that you're going to want to have if you're going to actually generate clients from your social media content is proof-based content, okay? So this is your testimonial videos, your written stories about clients, your screenshot messages from clients and things of that nature as well. So let's do Tuesday is going to be proof. And most coaches, if you can, I know it's more difficult if you're a brand new coach, there's some ways around it. If you're a brand new coach, you can use yourself as an example if you are similar or have been in a similar starting position as the clients that you're going to work with. But otherwise, if you've got an active coaching business, then sharing proof on a Tuesday, and then you could also do it on a Friday, is a great way to do it. Okay, so education, proof, and then Wednesday, you could do as a pain point post, right? Wednesday is a good time for a pain point post to go, especially if you've done education, so you've positioned yourself as an authority, proof-based, you've shown that you can get other people result, and then on Wednesday, you do pain point. And this is where you can spark interest around a pain point that your demographic are struggling with. So for instance, for me personally, it could be feeling like you don't have enough money for ads, but simultaneously you're not making enough money in your business, and it's the old chicken and the egg. When do I start? Should I start? Should I be running ads? Should I not? If I did a pain point post about that and then went into overcoming that pain point about, you know, how you can start ads for £3 per day, how if you're using an ad strategy that focuses on starting conversations and giving yourself control over the outcome that is going to occur, then you are actually not risking a lot at all. £3 per day, and you're getting opportunities, multiple opportunities per day to generate leads, generate sales. So that pain point post for me would be a good time to do it on a Wednesday specifically, because we've had education proof, pain points in the middle of the week, and if this sparks enough interest, I've still got Thursday and Friday for people to book calls, take action before we hit the weekend. Okay, the next one there is Saturday, I might do an objection handling post. Objection handling posts are excellent, where you can sometimes tie these to proof-based posts as well. So you can hit them with an idea around an objection that you're most commonly getting. Like at this time of year, at time of film, and I know it doesn't look like it, Ryan flew all the way from Ireland for this to occur, and then after about a 7-week drought here in Florida, now it is like tropical storm stuff, and we're getting a chance to go outside underneath this overhang. So at this time of the year, it is going into summer. So an objection might be, I really want to do this, it's my number one priority, but I've got a holiday coming up in 3 weeks' time, so I'm going to put it off. You do that as the hook, that's the first line of the post, then you get to say, well, if this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, this person didn't sign up last June, then they would have not had all of these amazing results you can see in the carousel above by September, right? Do you see how you can overcome that objection by highlighting the objection, overcome it through stories of clients? That's what a great Saturday post could be. And this is a great one as well, because a lot of coaches take calls Monday to Friday only. On Saturday, a lot of people actually convert on Saturdays. For us personally, it's one of the biggest days of the week for us. Sunday can go a little bit quiet, but a lot of people that had calls on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday will be in the consideration phase. They might still be chatting to us, asking questions and things. And then on Saturday, they will take action, okay? And whether it's because we very often use objection handling posts on Saturdays or something else, it's still a great thing for the person who's been on a call with you to see. And remember, if somebody is hyper engaged with you, if they're in the diary for a sales call next week, or they were on a sales call in the last 3 weeks with you, they are seeing all of this. They're the type of people that are hanging on your every word, that as soon as you put up a story, they're the people who see it first. When you put out a post, they always see it. IG knows that they are really interested, okay? So putting out an objection handling post on a Saturday is a good way to strategically think about not just having variation through the week and hitting multiple points, it's also just a really good time to do it. And then Sunday. Sunday's a really good one for lifestyle. I mean, my writing gets even worse when I have to like try and find an angle like this. So lifestyle or emotional story-based content, okay? So this might be what you've been up to this week. One that I use is 5 things I did this week that are not in the Business Guru's handbook. And then I'll share like 5 things like going to Disney with my son, or taking him to his swimming lessons, or having some time in the pool, or watching Pirates of the Caribbean with my wife last night or 2 nights ago. Was it last night? 2 nights ago? One or the other. And so like that type of thing might flow into it. And these types of pieces of content you'll very often see get more engagement than anything else. And people who are very uninformed will say, this type of content is useless for growing your coaching business because it's not showcasing that you can help people or do this or do that. Remember that especially in high skepticism markets, right? Guys selling to guys. You don't need to be a business coach. You don't need to be finance or anything like that. Even guys selling to guys in general, there's really high skepticism there. In those types of places, people will work with the people that they vibe with, okay, that they can connect to. These lifestyle pieces of content, just sharing what you've done this weekend, or sharing what you're doing specifically today, or doing a bit of like a week recap and things like that, they get more reach than anything else. People who have not been seeing your content for the last 2 months will see a post from you and be reminded of you. And the people who you've taken calls from that are unconverted from the last 4 weeks will see this and remember that you're the type of person that they actually vibe with. This is an amazing opportunity. But to take this to creating a lot of content in a short space of time, what I tend to find is that this takes a really long process, okay? So if I had to sit down and just create content for next week, and I'm like, okay, an educational piece of content, I guess it should be about Facebook ads, right? Well, we do it about remarketing. If remarketing, what should I do? Should it be a carousel or should it be a video? If I'm trying to think about all these things, it's frying my brain to come up with each thing individually. And then if it's proof, okay, proof, I need to go and find a proof post from, something that somebody put in the group in the last 48 hours. Go and grab that. Then pain point. Okay, what's a pain point of our clients? And then I'm trying to create can you see how it's like difficult to get into flow state when you're doing that? The difference here is if you were to create 4 weeks of content, okay, 4 weeks of content, all you need to do is bucket these together, okay? So I need to create 8 educational posts. because I've got 2 per week and we're talking about 4 weeks. So I need 8 educational posts. I need 8 proof-based posts. Do you know how much easier it is to not go and find a win from a client in the last 48 hours, then try and do a pain point post, then education, then proof, and then having to repeat the process the next Sunday for the next week ahead? Instead, just going into your groups or going into your feedback forums or going into, you know, your archive or whatever it is, and just going and finding 8. How quick that can be and how easy it can be. And so I need 4 pain point. I need 4 objection handling. And like these ones, actually, to be fair, if it's an emotional story based piece of content, just for context, because these are really, really good to use, especially infrequently, is actually just telling real stories, right? Not just what you've been up to this week, but emotional story based pieces of content are more along the lines of, you know, you might see that, you know, I'm doing this, 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 and this right now, and you may think it was easy for me, but actually 11 years ago, I was in this position. And if you can show yourself as both relatable and remarkable, it's a really powerful thing. But lifestyle in between it is really good. If it was emotional story-based piece of content, you could, for instance, say, okay, well, you know, every 2 weeks I'll do lifestyle and every 2 weeks I'll do emotional story. So you could say emotional story and batch that out, and then a couple of Sundays you just do posts off the cuff, unplanned, whatever you're doing that weekend for lifestyle. But now you sit down and you put 2 hours aside or 3 hours aside. You just write your 8 educational pieces of content. You go and gather your 8 proof-based posts. You go and gather or create your 4 pain point posts, objection handling, and emotional story based. And inside the private coaching, we take it one further. Every single month, we create 25 to 30 social media posts, and we have educational ones. We have proof-based. We do have proof. They have to fill in the blanks, of course, with their own stories. Pain point, objections, and these are optimized for the time of year that we're in. So, for instance, right now, people, their objection will be, I've got a summer holiday coming up, so I can't take action right now. I'll have to wait till I get back. Or people might say, the kids are going to be off school, so this isn't a good time for me to embark on something new. Well, we've already taken that into account so that our members don't just have templates to save themselves time, but they actually have posts that are optimized for that very month that we're going to be in. Emotional story-based piece of content, we've got that as a training because it's not something that's very easy to template, but it is something that is very easy to teach. How to find the stories, how to format the stories. But this is a great way to do things. So step 1 here is to map out what your perfect week is going to look like. If you do 2 posts per week, then allow yourself to map out what the 2 posts are going to be, the AM, the PM. If you do 1 post per day, then you can just map it out the way that I have here, and then you put it into this format, and this is how you attack that month of content creation in one swoop. If this has been valuable to you, then let me know down below. Hit me up with the comments if you're a really good human. Otherwise, like and subscribe and the other stuff that the YouTube algorithm actually enjoys. And other than that, if you have any interest in finding out more about what it would look like to work with us inside the private coaching, or indeed just gather a whole bunch of free ad templates and different bits and pieces from us, I drop them all below into the description so you can go and grab them there. Other than that, I'll see you on the next video.